Hello everybody, and thank you for being here with me. And it's a very special project to me. First of all, it's not very usual that a musician is inviting an audience in a movie theater and asking them to close their eyes to listen to the album and to the music. And it's all coming from the fact that after COVID, I got really involved with immersive worlds by experimenting in VR, doing VR gigs, VR performances. I realized that after a while, when we're talking about metaverse, VR, everybody is thinking about visual, but not a lot of people are talking about sound. And you know that for a human being, the visual field is for 140 degrees, but the audio field is 360 degrees. I think it could be fun to explore the possibilities of creating, composing, conceiving an album from scratch, from day one, in multi-channel, in 360 degrees, and not only producing a piece of music in stereo and then afterwards trying to make it binaural or to make it to specialize it. And of course, it was a total game changer for me. The idea of suddenly saying, okay, what about this sound? This sound, I could put it behind me and maybe moving it to the front right, and basically having fun in a total different way than when I was first experimenting with sounds back in time when I started. And this is the reason why this project sounds differently from all my other albums, and also the fact that it's probably contributing to open a new genre of music, dictated by the technology we have in hands these days, by experimenting in a totally different way music production. Because for years we have, as musicians, a frontal relationship with music. When you want to compose for a symphonic orchestra, you visualize the orchestra in front of you. You have the violins on one side, the percussions in the center, the winds on the other side. When you are in a studio, you are dealing with two speakers. When you are in a festival, in a concert, you have PA systems in front of you. So for the audience or for the composer, you are always have this kind of flat 2D relationship with music. And stereo doesn't exist in nature. When I'm talking to you, I'm talking in mono. When a bird is singing, it's singing in mono. And it's the environment around us and our ears which are creating the perspective in audio. So, ironically, as a paradox, modern technology is actually offering you and offering us as musicians, the possibility to go back to a very natural way of listening to sounds in our day-to-day life. And I'm absolutely convinced that it's going to be the future, especially in our days where immersive worlds are going to be part of our day-to-day life with Web 3.0, with the development of metaverse, with development also of electric cars, where in electric cars for musicians is quite a dream because we are starting from silence. And we have this feeling in electric cars of being immersed in a kind of new genre of cockpit. And also the fact that you have more and more sound bars and with flat screens at home. So we can feel that now we are entering in a new era where for musicians it's going to be a great opportunity to explore a totally different way of producing music. And Oxymore is an attempt to all this. The idea also that when I started at almost the beginning of electronic music, but I had some people behind me. And this album is a kind of tribute to the origin of electroacoustic music, to the origin of the French electroacoustic music. Because back in the 1940s, some people, such as Pierre-Henry and Pierre Schaeffer, not known worldwide. But these people, they were the first one to think about music, not in terms of notes based on solfeggio, but actually thinking, okay, music is made of sounds. And why not mixing noises, the sound of the rain, the sound of a bird, and mixing it with a clarinet, or the sound of the washing machine and mixing it with drums, and then processing sounds. And when you think of it, their contribution is actually a major, had a major impact on the way we are producing music these days. I mean, we all became sound designer. We are all mixing sound effects in our music production these days. Whatever we do, hip hop or rock or pop, I mean, we have this kind of habit to mix noises in our songs. And it's coming back from these guys. And Pierre-Henry or Pierre Schaeffer would have been born in the US, they would be probably more influential and more important than John Cage, for instance. So this is the reason why this Oxymore is also a tribute to these people. And as a French electronic musician, I think that it was also time to pay tribute to these guys and to these people. This is the reason why also I dedicated this album to Pierre-Henry, because I had the plan a few years ago to do a piece of music with him, and unfortunately he was ill, he passed away, and it never happened. And I discovered a bit later on that his widow had some sounds that he left for me that maybe one day I could do something with them. So it's not like samples or excerpt of existing music that you can use in a hip-hop production, for instance. They are really random sounds and raw sounds. And I decided that it could be a good way to, in Oxymore, to add here and there some of his sounds, like you put spices in a meal you prepare. More or less that kind. I always thought that actually electronic music is very close to cooking, and in a very organic and cooking frequencies and cooking waveforms, that actually a DJ is actually looking like a chef behind these turntables and like kind of cooking some sounds. So there is this kind of very organic feel to Oxymore. You know, I've been in lots of performances involving lots of visuals, and in these days where I think we changed paradigm after the COVID, where I think concerts, movies are not going to be shared with the audience in the same way. I mean, something has changed, and even for myself, I don't see myself going back to what I was doing 20 years ago by repeating myself. And the good news is actually we have new tools, and this is the reason why I see my future, the future of quite a lot of artists, by using immersive sounds, immersive experience, that we are maybe entering in a new era where maybe it's time, when we are bombarded by visuals, to go back to what sound is all about. And I really see my future as a performer in a kind of hybrid. I mean, producing hybrid performances where in the real world everything is dedicated to sounds and immersion. This is the reason why I would like to ask you in a moment to close your eyes and go inside the music. And then keeping all the visual correspondences to the music in the metaverse, in VR. This is the reason why I created a music city, in an imaginary music city, a little bit between Metropolis and Sin City, where I could perform my work in the future for Oxymore, but also in the future, and maybe also, why not in the future, also sharing this music village with other artists, with other musicians, and inviting them to maybe doing some gigs or residencies, and to pass the relay to also younger artists, to also give them some tools to express themselves. Why not? This is going to be in the future, and I hope that is going to happen. So now I'm going to stop talking, and let's enjoy Oxymore, and see you soon in the real world. Bye-bye.